all Iranians, Kurdish Iranians, Baluch Iranians, Farsi Iranians, Iranian Turks and Iranian Arabs. No matter what minority, ethnic minority you are from Iran, we are all Iranians. And now Iranian women and their allies are uprising against the brutal, child-killing Islamic Republic regime who do not represent Iranians. This revolution is about removing the Islamic Republic regime. It is about regime change. They should not be called the Iranian regime. They should not be called an Iranian government. They should not be called an Iranian authority. Because this revolution is about having a future Iranian government. An Iranian government that represents Iranian people. An Iranian government that stands for woman, life and freedom. Please. Thank you. Iranians and our supporters here today who we've seen are gathered at the ABC building in Melbourne because we have a very important message, and the Australian media has a very important role to play in this struggle for women's rights, for human rights and for children's rights. They have an important role in ensuring the Australian government and the Australian people hear the truth and know the truth. And they are not victims of Islamic Republic regime propaganda and lies. And so here is the truth. What is happening in Iran is not a protest about hijab laws. This is a revolution by every Iranian. This is a revolution by every Iranian, regardless of whether they want to wear a hijab or whether they do not want to wear a hijab. This is about regime change. We will not be fooled with lies that they will abolish or disband the so-called morality police, because they are not separate to the regime. The entire Islamic Republic regime is an oppressive and brutal morality police, which needs to be eradicated from Iran. Iranian people are currently on strike in every city in Iran. They are imposing their own financial sanctions against the regime. So it is time for the Australian government to do the right thing and impose their own sanctions on the Islamic Republic regime. Since the uprising, more and more protesters are dying, including women and including young girls. So it is not good enough for Australian government to be doing business with the Islamic Republic regime. It is not good enough that ministers and officials of the Islamic Republic regime are free to live in Australia and do business in Australia. So my Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, I hope you are hearing this. I hope you are hearing the Iranian voices and not the voices of Nayak. I hope you are hearing this, Anthony Albanese, and you do the right thing and impose targeted sanctions against the Islamic Republic regime. Thank you very much. I now introduce Member for Menzies, Keith Wallahan. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Can I start by apologising? You shouldn't have to come to the ABC. The ABC should come to you. I know in this community you work so hard and you still find the time to come here, and you pay the tax dollars for the ABC. So I don't know if they're around the corner having a drink, but they should be here listening to you, because this is a key moment in Iran's history. Week by week, protest by protest, I know you might feel sometimes as someone listening, but each time you speak, each time you say something online, bit by bit you're moving the dial, because the people of Iran know it's at a tipping point, and each time you speak you're giving more power to their arm. So I want to thank you for giving more power to their arm, because they need it. I also want you to know that we hear you in Canberra. This isn't a partisan issue. I'm not here as a political party. I speak to members of the crossbench, members of the Labor Party. I don't care what party you're from. If you're listening to you, then you are doing your job as a representative. So I said I would bring more, and I've brought my very good friends who are also new members of Parliament, because whether it's the inquiry in the Senate, the petitions that you give, and the social media posts that you do, we listen, because that's our job. Our job is to listen to you, and wherever you are, we will be. So I give you my good friend, the member for Flinders, Zoe McKenzie.
Hello, everybody. Is that my fault? I'm sorry. I'd just like to say this is my very first protest ever, and I'm so proud that it's here with you today for this cause. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to be part of. I've come up from the Mornington Peninsula this afternoon to hear from you, and may I say I've heard so much about your efforts and your extraordinary movement here in Melbourne from my dear friend Keith Woolahan, who has, as he said, been speaking across the Parliament, all sides, crossbench, government, and on our own side, raising your voices in that place every single day. So thank you, Keith, for having me along. You are such an important part of the Melbourne community. You're an important part of the Australian community. It is inspiring to be in your presence and to be part of this movement with you. I've been following it through the international news, significant effort globally, of which we are one very proud part. I wish you the best. I hope I can help Keith and Aaron in this movement, in Parliament in Canberra for you. And so I look forward to hearing from more of you and to spending some time with you this afternoon in your cause, and we hope getting our friends from upstairs to come down and listen to you as well. Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations on your effort. Oh, and Keith gave me a language lesson. Zan, Zandigi, Azadi.
Thank you, Zoe. Keith, again, I know it's been said a lot. I'm proud to be here a second time with you to support such an important cause, and it's great to have Zoe with us as well. As we said, it's so important that we add our voice to your voice. And I know when I spoke a few weeks ago, I spoke about Kian, and the hardest part about being here today is that I look out and I see more photos and more faces of young women and children, and more people are dying, and it breaks our heart in this country that it's happening, and we need to continue to do more. And I said then, and I'll say again, words are powerful, words are important. What we are doing today is important, but action is powerful. So again, I call on the Albanese government with Keith and with Zoe, we call on the government to take action, because there is no economic price worth a life. And I look and words, and I look out at this young girl here. It could be me. Do you care? And that sums it up. It could be anyone. I was with my son just yesterday thinking about the protest today and how blessed we are to be in this country, and how we have to fight for the rights that we have here across the globe, and particularly in Iran at this moment. and we know the atrocities that are happening are continuing and they're getting worse. And we're lucky, and Ek mentioned the Victoria Police that are doing a fantastic job today to keep us safe, so we can protest in safety in this country. But we compare that to what is happening in Iran, where protesters are being killed. Protesters are being shot in the eyes. This is outrageous. This is unacceptable. These are basic human rights that are not being acknowledged. And we as a country, we as parliamentarians, and we as citizens cannot stand by and accept this. And the ABC, as Keith and Zoe said, you shouldn't have to come to them. They should be going to you, because this is an outrage. We will continue to stand with you. We will continue to be your voice in Canberra. There will be, you have been fighting for a long time, been loud, been every weekend, I know. It will feel like sometimes people are not listening, but we are listening. We will continue to amplify your voice, because women, life, freedom.